We're in a fundamentally an information war, because information is reality. Reality is incomprehensible to a limited creature like me or you or anyone. That's why we need some principles that are transcendent of human reason and human limitation. We need to get beyond reason's limitation and operate in some new world, some new system. It seems to me that Lara, that one of the defining traits of globalism and corporatism has been the slaughter of God and the divine principle, and the laying claim of the power that God once possessed. The ability to kill, the ability to control, the ability to censor, the ability to act like a God while claiming there isn't one. Do you agree with that? And how is something so sort of theologically profound playing out in real time in our political arena and our media arena right now?
Okay, so this is why you have a special gift, Russell. This is why people listen to you, because that question goes right to the heart of everything that matters today. So, I'll stop by saying this to you. Technology, the technology that we use, is literally Satan's way of mimicking the omnipotence of God. This is when you're talking about, yes, because the only thing actually in our world that is omnipotent is God itself. But once you have technology that is around you all the time, that's recording and monitoring everything you say, that's feeding that knowledge into databases where people prey upon it, right, and use it to exploit. All of this is designed to do what? To separate us from our creator. And in fact, you talked about principles beyond reality, right? Because we as human beings, this is so much bigger than us. And yet, at the same time, while it is bigger than us, this is how you know when things come from God. Because in that very same moment, it is completely and utterly grounded in the earth that we stand upon. And it is absolutely within our reach to know what reality is. You know how and you know why? So the how is, we know reality because it sits in the pit of your stomach, because you are given a God-given instinct that guides you. That's how we know what is good and what is evil, what is right and what is wrong. I can go into a hotel in New York City and I can sit there and talk to the overnight cleaner who may have come from across the world, from some unsophisticated village in some unsophisticated third world country. And they can tell me the difference between right and wrong. But I can go and sit with the most educated people in the United States of America who've graduated with how many degrees from the best universities, and they can spin themselves into an alternative reality that is completely and utterly separated from what is true and what is honest, and they justify it a million ways, and they look down on everybody else. Why? Because what have they become? They have become separated from God. And by the way, the reverse can apply. This is not something that is just unique to one group in society. And I know a very interesting man, someone who doesn't do interviews, so you probably never get to talk to him, certainly not publicly. But this is a very serious man. And he spent many years underground training to infiltrate the global cult. And when I ask him the kind of questions that you're asking, and I ask some simpler questions, like, explain this violence against children to me. I want to understand it. And he always says to me, Lara, you're not looking at it the right way. You're not asking the right question. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, because if you're trying to understand the mindset of the people who are implementing this, who are using technology for these reasons, who are pushing this ideology, that is, whether it's trans ideology or whatever it happens to be, they are not concerned with you or me. They don't care about human beings. They have only one focus. So while the world is being led away from this one thing, they are laser focused on it. And it is God. That's what they're focused on. Every single thing they do is about God. It is about inflicting pain and suffering and victory over God, because that is how they are rewarded in their world. That's how they are recognized. So, it's while we wander further and further and further away from our Creator, whether it's believing that nature can exist, that the beauty and spirituality of life exists in nature, independent from God or any kind of creator. It doesn't matter. You can find a million examples. For them, they know it's all about God. And so all the things that you describe that separate us from our Creator, all the things that make us feel lost, our children, they don't know what is a gender role? Oh, no, you can't say a gender role because that's bad. Except now I've lost my identity. I don't know what I'm supposed to do in the home or in the workplace or in society. Right now, you've got men. I talk to psychiatrists who've got all these men as clients. They're addicted to pornography, and they're shut-ins. They don't go out. They don't socialize. They don't interact. Why? Because they're afraid. They don't know what their role is anymore. They don't know what's expected of them. They don't know what's allowed. They don't want to overstep, because essentially, I do believe in the goodness, and I do believe that good is greater than evil. They don't know what to do anymore. So what is that doing? It's isolating us further and further and further. Those feedback loops in the information space, those social cues that now are they're in disarray, and you go on and on and on. The punishment system that's been put in place, if you transgress, if maybe you say something you shouldn't, or believe something you shouldn't, or God forbid, do something you shouldn't, that they've deemed shouldn't be done. All of this is to separate us from who we are. It's because when we know who we are, when we're centered in who we are and what we stand for and what we believe in, we are never closer in that moment to God. And what they want to separate you from, they want to separate you from that identity. So this is why, Tucker Carlson did a great interview with Hunter Biden's psychiatrist. And I'll never forget that he said in that interview that they have created a mass delusion, and we're all being ordered to participate. So it doesn't matter. It could be the trans ideology, could be the climate crisis, whatever, all this, quite frankly, all this nonsense. And if you don't participate in the mass delusion, you get punished, right? And what is the mass delusion? It's separating us from reality. And what is greater than reality, than self? Than knowing who you are. And as you were what? As you were created and designed by your Creator. So now we've got kids growing up thinking that it's possible for boys to have children, right? Men can give birth and menstruate and can chest feed as opposed to breastfeed. Well, when you go to the darker realm of that, Russell, if you go into the darker realm on the dark web and you go beyond what we see on the surface in our society, you will now find images, and I know this through the counter trafficking work that I do and the people I work with, you will now find images of toddlers who are pregnant. Because this ideology is completely and utterly hedonistic and dark and evil and satanic. This is pure evil. If you want to find where evil exists, and then think about what technology has done. It's taken every single evil person on the planet. It's given them purpose. It's given them identity. It's given them a home. It's made them rich. It's made them richer than ever. They found each other. They found each other, and they proliferate in this dark world. But who runs that dark world? Who runs it? The people that sit at Ericsson and the tech companies, the people who host the servers that store all of this pornography, that store what they call sadistic pornography, which has a name now called hurtcore. The tech companies that know all the lines and the towers where this information that is data, it travels along those undersea cables. It hits those towers. It is stored by people who own government contracts, who move information and use it to control all of us, to manipulate our behavior, to get the electoral and political outcomes that they want, but also to get us to move further and further and further away from as we were created. Why? To separate us from our Creator, because in separating and distancing us, they cause pain to God. When we use our free will to choose darkness over light and to choose Satan over God, that is a victory for them. And in their world, they rise and rise and rise. And nothing causes God more pain than the victory that they can have over hurting innocent children and babies, by the way, babies whose veins are cut in a particular way so that when they're raped, you have a blood show. There are people that like a blood show. They do this to babies, toddlers, children. They traffic adults. And there are people that now make money out of that. And all of this technology, these companies know where this is. They watch the data move. They can stop it anytime they want to, and they never do.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.